What's up, Reno Bros? Welcome to your week 9 video. I am almost out of fingers, but the show rolls on. We had a 1 week hiatus last week, but a little bit of foreshadow. There's something good's coming out of last week, content-wise. I can promise you that. But nonetheless, I am joined by the Black Daddy himself, Peter Durrutti. What's up?
Yeah, I know I don't look it, but that is my nickname. So thank you. Thank you
Well,
for using it.
it's on the magnet right behind you.
Oh, oh, weird. I didn't realize that was right there.
Oh, that's great. Awesome. All right, Peter, what's going on?
Well, I must say it feels a lot better coming off a win than it
Second
does
of the
coming
season,
off of
right?
what's that?
Second of the season?
Second of the season, and there's been a lot of losses in a row, and it's been brutal. Some, at least one self-inflicted, sat Cousins with 40, but the rest have just been kind of team not living up to expectation or just not being good, just kind of being trashed here.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens. Luckily, you are in the trash tier division, so one of you will come out less trashy than the other two. So,
Yeah, I'm only one game back from both of my fellow division mates, so I got
mhm.
a chance to face, I think, both of them once more, and so destiny's in my hands.
Right, right. That's funny. All right, cool. Well, real quick, I want to do a recap of when we were playing the Pick'em game. So last time I had vote on, and we had it was actually a kind of an interesting week. So this was back in week 7, so it's been a couple weeks now. But the guest actually picked up 2 points on me. I had Junior as a lock. He ends up, I think I ended up, I forget who. Junior lost to Joe. Joe ended up spanking Junior, handing Junior his first loss of the year. Then Votsky also locked Connor. So both the locks miss. Votsky ends up hitting his upset as I upset. I believe it was Jesse. So good call there. So moral of the story is the guest has picked up 2 points. So now my lead is down to three. So shout out to Votsky for putting the guest on his back and keeping that going. Peter, anything you want to talk about from week 8? Any news or notes you wanna touch on?
Week 8. Honestly, I haven't really been paying too much attention to the rest of the league and just been pretty focused on my own team, but there have been some nice trades that have gone down.
Yeah,
Um,
a little more
Vote kind
action,
of
huh? You're
Vote
you're
kind of
you're, you're
cracked that action for me like a few weeks ago. Wasn't really looking to trade pieces, but he bugged me for Diggs. I'm like, fine, take Diggs. So I got like a pretty mediocre haul for it, but any haul is better than nothing when the player goes on IR. So kind of the trade door cracked open, and then a few more went through this week. That's kind of exciting.
I
And
know you got to trade down with Junior. That's damn near impossible.
yeah, I was hoping I could send a prayer out there and just get him to take Dak off my hands. I mean, I think he's going to be solid rest of the year, but I really needed that RB depth. So it was,
Yeah.
I think, mutually beneficial for both parties. So
Yep. Got some running back depth. Solid pick. Cool. All right. Well, let's jump into the Chubb rankings. It's been a while since we've done a Chubb rankings, and it is that time. So I'm going to share my screen once more, and we're going to start doing the Chubb rankings. Kind of like the tradition of letting the guest have the first crack at it. So, Peter, go ahead and give me your first full Chubb team.
man, I really like Ari's team, and I think the top four, I think are pretty clear cut.
I
Maybe
know
top
there's a
five.
top four, and they're all playing each other this week. It's
Yeah, so
great.
that'll be pretty juicy. I've been spanked by pretty much everyone that's those top teams. Um, I think I might just have some recency bias towards Ari since I got to meet the man, the myth, the legend in person this weekend. So I'm gonna throw Ari on top.
Awesome. Awesome. Right on. Good pick. Yeah, Ari's super stacked. I mean, Lamar Jackson is, I think he's probably the highest single scorer in this format. So yeah, he's got a great team. And then Ta I was gonna say Taylor Swift. I meant Jonathan Taylor, Jamar Chase, DK Metcalf. I mean, super solid wide receivers. Only knock on him is no quarterback, right? No second quarterback, that is. I don't think you get to count Will Levis, but yeah, I like the Ari pick. I had him up really high as well. All right. Well, so the next team I want to talk about, I think I'm gonna have to give it to Junior. He's just super balanced across the board. I like his acquisition of Dak. He's got, Purdy still and Rodgers. Rodgers isn't great, but still a quarterback. Better days could be ahead for the Jets. And then now he's getting healthy. He's got Cooper Kupp back. I believe he still has Debo. Yep, he's still got Debo. Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley. What a running back core. A couple of insane values, sort of low end wide receiver or low end running back ones when they were drafted, and they have been absolutely top tier running backs. So awesome value for Junior. I think he's kind of a force.
Yeah, definitely. Those two have definitely been pretty solid all season, and I think Jesse's also been pretty solid all season. So I think he's fair to put at three. But you could also make an argument for yourself, or even Tommy's looking pretty saucy also these past few weeks.
All right, I might have jumped the gun, but give me the we got to make it official.
Oh,
Who you
let's go
going with?
Jesse. Let's
Yeah,
give it to him.
yeah, Jesse, who I have here as well. The hash sink slinging slashers. Yeah, Josh Allen, Jordan Love, great quarterback combo. David Montgomery, Aaron Jones, not quite Junior's caliber, but pretty solid. CeeDee Lamb, Josh Downs, Jaden Reed's been a baller. Yeah, no, he's got a super solid team, a lot of depth. So
Yeah.
good pick here with Jesse. I think that does kind of segue nicely. Is there anything else you want to say on Jesse?
No, just another guy that beat me already this season, so we can just move past him.
We're just on your hit list right here, right now.
I mean, that's everybody in the league except for Tanner, I guess. But I don't know who else I beat earlier this year.
Oh, poor Tanner. Actually, I have some good news for Tanner here. He's not going to be as low as some of the others. But you did kind of mention it. I think Tommy's team stacked. Like I said, I think these are like a pretty clear top four. These guys, I mean, I know I'm kind of cheating. Like they're the four teams that are all projected over 200 points this week. So kind of low hanging fruit. But yeah, man, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, nothing wrong with that. Josh Jacobs, James Cook, super solid running backs. AJ Brown, Terry McLaurin, Marvin Harrison, also super solid there.
Yeah,
Um, Not a ton of depth, I guess, is your knock, right? Like, the bench piece that I'm seeing of any real value is Rico Dowdle, and that's kind of a weird situation in Dallas.
yeah.
So I think Tommy is probably the fourth of four, but I think there's a big tier break after these four guys.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good top four for sure. And I mean, depending on how weeks go, you might see a little shuffling at the top of the half chub, bottom of the full chub list
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Like I said, lucky for the league, they all play each other this week, so the rest of us have a chance.
Love to see it.
Yeah. All
Why
right.
don't you-
I believe that was my pick. So give me now that we've sort of broken that tier, give me the next team you want to talk about in half chub.
Well, why don't you throw yourself up there at half chub slot number two? I think your team's pretty solid. I mean, you got Tua coming back, so that makes Tyreek look a little bit better. I know he's kind of been pedestrian with not a great quarterback to throw to him. Your three quarterbacks actually, I think, are pretty solid. Stafford didn't think he'd be great starting off, and then Bo Nix was kind of a question mark, but you kind of got a nice little revolving door of quarterbacks there, and then some decent depth that you got buy flexibility and just kind of oh shit coverage. So I like your team as a half chub.
Yeah, had myself at half chub too. Definitely like it a lot more if Nico Collins comes back to form. Hopefully that's going to be next week. Yeah, little short. It's nice to have three quarterbacks for sure to be able to play matchups. Little short on depth. Nothing on the bench is worth talking about. But I think that's a lot of these teams at this point in the year.
Yeah,
So it goes. Yeah, agreed there. Half chub. All right. I kind of teased it, but I got to tell you the team that I like next here is actually going to be Tanner. Now I know Tanner is 1-7 and been having a rough go of it. But I really like Tanner's team. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is awesome. I think Joe Burrow, now he's got Joe Flacco, who he finally bid some money on. Joe Flacco, if he ends up the starter, that's pretty solid. Puka Nacua, DJ Moore, I think that's a decent 1-2 punch for your wide receivers if Caleb Williams keeps playing well.
hmm
So definitely, I know it's a stretch to put Tanner up here, but I actually do think better days are ahead for Tanner. I think he's gonna get his second win this week, and so I wanted to shout out Tanner and put him up at half chub this week.
Yeah, no, I don't mind that. And I honestly I feel like after those top five, you can almost put maybe
Any
not
team?
anyone in these bottom two divisions, but like it's just like even the better records aren't necessarily that intimidating of teams, and some of these shittier records like my team like I think can actually be pretty dangerous. So it'll be interesting to see how this bottom shakes out.
Agreed. Agreed. All right. Speaking of the bottom, go ahead and start us off with your first no chub team.
Uh, I guess we'll throw Connor there. I don't love his team, but I don't think it's reverse Chubb worthy at this point. The quarterbacks, I got CJ Stroud's nice, but losing all his weapons, that might be tough, but maybe that'll be good for him. He'll have to do some running. Um, Tua and Trevor Lawrence don't inspire too much confidence, but he does have some pretty sweet running backs. I like Kyron Williams and Brian Robinson.
Yeah,
And
Devon Achane too has been really good. I
um,
think all the Dolphins are arrow up.
So, I mean, I think he's got some pretty good running back. Oh, he's got Dave on A chain too. That's nice. The wide receiver is a little thin, but Tank Dell's going to be good with the two top guys in Houston being out, and Mooney's looking like a pretty good wide receiver too in Atlanta also. So, again, depth not much to talk about, but that's going to be all these teams.
Yeah, yeah, good point there too. George Kittle on his bench. I think Kittle's the tight end one. With this premium scoring, that's a serious factor. So yeah, good pick with Connor there. The next team I think I'm going to talk about is actually going to be I'm going to give put you up here.
Yikes.
I like Kirk Cousins. I like Sam Darnold. I just can't believe I'm saying that, but 6 point passing touchdowns that helps. Tyrone Tracy, I think he could be the dude for sure. He's definitely got more spark than Singletary. Think it could continue. Brees Hall is awesome. I think T. Higgins is a really good wide receiver. I think Lad McConkey's coming into his own. You're going to get Mike Evans back. Jake Ferguson, kind of like the perfect value tight end. So yeah, no, I like your team. I don't love it. It doesn't have the star power, obviously, that any of these other teams do. But I think I like your team, and I think you're going to be able to compete any given week.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
All right, last team for No Chubb.
That's gonna be fun, isn't it? Oh, geez. I think I know who I'm putting down near the bottom. So, my goodness. Maybe, you know what I'm gonna do? Just because this will be good for me. We're gonna put Joe here because Joe loves to be reverse Chubb, and
Okay.
we're not gonna give him that satisfaction. So we're gonna give him that curse. We're gonna put that evil on him, and that's gonna give him a loss, and that's gonna just be good for me in my division. So,
I love that. I play Joe
pure
this week,
selfish right
so
there.
I love that. I actually have Joe at a no chub team. He's not like an honorary like no chub. I actually have Joe at a no chub team. But yeah, you bring up a great point. I play him this week, and every time we list him as reverse chub, he goes off. So no,
Yeah.
I think this works for both of us.
All right, let's yeah, lock it in.
All right. All right, cool. Joe, well, all things considered, though, Justin Herbert's playing better. Pat Mahomes is looking good. David Njoku is going to be like the only target on the Browns, and with Jameis Winston slinging it, that's pretty good. And Chris Olave is coming back, or Derek Carr is coming back, which should help Chris Olave. So I actually do think Joe deserves like no Chubb consideration. I don't think he's actually reverse Chubb. But that does segue us semi nicely, I suppose, into the reverse chubs. And so I can't believe some of these names that we have here. But let's start talking about I don't know. I guess I have Kuzi next. So
Yeah.
I'll list Kuzi. Kuzi's had kind of a rough go of it. He's sitting at 3-5. Baker Mayfield lost his weapons, but still looks okay. But ETN and Rashad White kind of both are in kind of weird running back situations.
Yep.
Now he's got a pretty nice wide receiver core with Amon-Ra and Justin Jefferson, so that's not bad. Kate Otten looks like could be the dude at tight end, which is wild. But you're never stoked with Daniel Jones. Who knows what you're going to get with Drake May? Um, and again, he does have Jalen
Yeah.
Waddle on his bench too. So I think there's some depth. I don't hate Kuzi's team by any means. I think this is just kind of how the cookie crumbles as far as him being reverse Chubb. But that's kind of where we go.
Yeah, I think that's another team where like he's really strong at a certain position. So he's great at wide receiver, I think. Justin Jefferson and Amon-Ra just by themselves are amazing. But then I think a lot of teams have felt this year with the running backs. It's tough. And he's got Travis Etienne or Etienne, I don't know, who's looking like Bigsby's number two now, and Rashad White's in a three-way timeshare back there in Tampa. So that's kind of tough there. But I mean, those wide receivers are nice though. So there's parts of this team that I do like a lot.
Yep, definitely. All right, one more, two more.
Who's left other than Steven? Because I think
Steven
Steven's
vote.
my
Steven
bottom
vote.
guy. Let's go vote then.
You want to talk about vote?
Yeah, I think Vogt just tends to just hurt himself. Like he loves the art of the trade, but I think it's to his own detriment sometimes.
Yeah, I gotta say this year I thought vote drafted pretty. A lot of times vote doesn't draft well and then he trades well, but this year it's been felt like it's been kind of the opposite. He's definitely traded himself into a predicament, I think, with this team. That there's not a lot that I love here. I got to be honest, but he maybe sees something that I don't. He's a good fantasy player. Like I'm not knocking Votski's fantasy skills, so he might see something that I don't.
Yeah, I mean, Kenneth Walker's nice. The wide receivers, I didn't like Adams too much, so we'll see how he progresses with his boy Rogers. And I mean, Brock Bowers is pretty nasty. These rookie tight ends kind of just are pretty impressive sometimes.
You
So
say nasty in a good way. I think.
nasty in a good way,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, nasty to go against. Yeah, crazy.
But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think this, like I said, the no Chubb and the reverse Chubb, I think we can see any team swap those two rankings any given week.
Yep, agreed. Agreed. Okay, the last team here is Steven. Steven's definitely been at the lower half of the league for a while. I think a lot of that is when you invest heavily in a guy like CMC who, if CMC was the running back we expected him to be, he'd be insane with this format. And so it's just such a bummer that Steven hasn't gotten to experience any of that. But it does seem like next week that he's coming back. And so I definitely think that's going to make Steven's team look a lot better. There's definitely still some holes. I mean, Malik Neighbors looks awesome, but as your wide receiver one, your alpha, that's not great. And then, Mark Andrews just has not been the tight end that we thought he was going to be. Jared Goff hasn't been quite as consistent as he had been in years
Yeah.
previous.
That
Uh,
special teams on Detroit was just too good this past week. I think what they said the Detroit had like 200 yards offense and still scored 50 something points. Like
52, 56 points, something like that, with
kind of
200 yards of offense. That's unreal.
it's kind of hard to fathom,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. And like so much of that was on the ground. Now, granted, I think Goff still threw like three touchdowns. Let me see. Yeah, he still threw three touchdowns he had 85 passing yards and three touchdowns. That's insane. Still has 19 points. So ended up okay. But yeah, no, that whole game was nuts.
Yeah.
So okay, well, there are your Chubb rankings, Reno Bros. So thanks, Peter, for helping
That's
me
been my
fill those
pleasure.
out. What's that?
It's been my pleasure.
Awesome. All right. Well, Peter, before we wrap up, I'll give you the mic and just let you address the league and say anything that you got to say. Get it off your chest.
Um, wow, it's been pretty depressing this year, being as bad as I have been, but I see some light at the end of the tunnel. So hopefully enough light to keep me around for a few more years. So,
Good. Good. Love to hear that. Yeah. Hey, man.
so
I Playoffs are definitely not set, and that's what's funny about fantasy is like there's no momentum in fantasy. You know what I mean? Like football teams can get momentum and go
yeah.
down, but like I mean, you could just freaking go on a streak of luck and go on a heater and win six straight and make playoffs. Half the teams make playoffs in this league, so uh,
Yep.
nothing's set in stone. So keep balling out, Reno Bros.
All right.
All right, cool. Well, thank you, Peter. Thank you, Reno Bros, for watching. And we end as we always do with a peace out, Reno Bros.